The paranormal world just got shaken to its core. Jason Hawes, founder of Ghost Hunters and one of the most respected figures in supernatural investigation, has gone public with emotional revelations about the Conjuring House, exposing what he calls a hidden war behind its walls. His GoFundMe update sounded innocent at first, but within hours, whispers began spreading about secret owners, financial manipulation, and a haunting the public was never supposed to hear about. Tonight, we're diving into the full story, the real reason Jason Hawes is back in the spotlight, and why insiders claim he's risking everything to tell the truth. But before we begin, make sure you hit subscribe, because what you're about to hear may never be spoken about again. When Jason Hawes first clicked upload on his video, he didn't expect to ignite a storm. The longtime Ghost Hunters star had made countless announcements before, show updates, fan meet and greets, event promotions, but this one was different. His voice trembled slightly as he thanked the community for raising nearly $150,000 to save the Conjuring House, the most infamous haunted property in America. Yet behind his words, viewers sensed a strange tension, like he was holding something back. Within hours, the video spread like wildfire. Major paranormal news pages reposted it. Influencers analyzed every pause and glance, and hashtags like #SaveTheConjuringHouse began trending worldwide. To most fans, this was a feel-good story, a hero returning to protect a piece of supernatural history. But to those who knew the deeper lore, Jason's tone raised red flags. He wasn't just thanking donors, he was pleading. Jason spoke carefully, warning against negativity, and insisting that his comments weren't attacks on anyone. It sounded like an apology, not to people, but to something. He kept repeating that he wanted the house open to everyone, not locked behind greed. That line hit hard. What did he mean by greed? What wasn't the public being told about this property that had been featured in countless documentaries, films, and investigations? Soon, rumors began to swirl, whispers of hidden contracts, of unexplained activity surges, of someone or something trying to stop him. Even former crew members from Ghost Hunters hinted at off-camera events that still give them nightmares. Jason's update wasn't just a thank you, it was a warning disguised as gratitude. The community thought they were helping restore a haunted house, but, according to insiders, they were unknowingly waking it back up. And Jason Hawes, the man who built his life on chasing ghosts, had just reopened a door that others had fought desperately to keep closed. Before Jason Hawes even launched his GoFundMe, the woman who lived through the Conjuring House nightmare, Andrea Perron, had already sounded the alarm. Her desperate public plea to save the house wasn't just about keeping the lights on or preserving history. Those who followed her work for years know Andrea chooses her words very carefully. When she said the house needed protection, it wasn't from neglect, it was from what still lived inside. According to Andrea, the energy on the property had shifted again. For months, she'd felt what she called the pulse, a vibration that echoed through the ground and walls at night. The air felt thicker, lights flickered even when the power was off, and visitors complained of headaches, nausea, and overwhelming dread within minutes of entering the home. Whatever haunted the Perron family in the 1970s, it seemed to be stirring again. That's when Andrea reached out privately to Jason. She begged him to help the house rest, not to turn it into another tourist spectacle. Yet in a shocking twist, Jason's video seemed to go against her warning. He spoke of reopening it, of giving people access, of letting the world see it again. To outsiders, it looked like a business move. To insiders, it looked like defiance. Soon after, Andrea went silent. No more interviews, no new posts. Even her closest friends claimed they couldn't reach her. And while Jason never mentioned her name again on camera, his expression during later live streams said everything. Pale, tired, and cautious, as if the mere topic carried consequences. Some say Andrea feared the wrong people were trying to control the house, not to study it, but to contain it. And when Jason publicly re-entered that fight, the forces she warned about, both supernatural and human, began to close in. Because if Andrea was right, saving the house might have been the very thing that doomed it. In the weeks following Andrea Perron's disappearance from the spotlight, Jason Hawes quietly began investigating investigating what she'd been so afraid of. What he found would change the tone of his entire campaign. During a live stream Q&A, Jason hinted that he'd reviewed old archives from his early ghost hunters year, evidence that was never broadcast, never logged in official databases, and never meant to be seen by the public. Fans noticed his demeanor shift immediately after that stream. Gone was the enthusiastic paranormal investigator. What replaced him was a man who looked haunted by something he couldn't unsee. According to a close associate, Jason uncovered a sealed folder labeled simply Farmhouse Footage, 2005. The file contained unreleased recordings from a night investigation inside the Conjuring House, back when it was still privately owned. In one of the raw clips, Jason's team is seen reacting to a sudden temperature drop, their breath visible, their instruments failing. Then, the camera pans across the basement door. Standing in the frame is a faint, translucent figure, tall, skeletal, and motionless. A voice on the recording whispers, "Don't disturb the roots." That phrase would soon become the center of an online firestorm. What roots? The Perron family had always mentioned something growing beneath the house, an energy that fed on grief and fear. Some researchers believed it was a burial site for accused witches. Others thought it was connected to underground water channels, amplifying electromagnetic energy. But Jason's file suggested something worse, a link between the house and other haunted sites across New England, all showing the same spectral signature on EVP analysis. After word of the footage leaked, the file vanished from Jason's system. Cloud backups corrupted, hard drives unreadable. Fans accused the network of deleting evidence. Skeptics claimed it was a PR stunt. But Jason's next post said it all. You can erase the data, but not the truth. From that moment, the haunting wasn't just inside the Conjuring House, it was following him. Jason Hawes had seen hundreds of hauntings in his lifetime, prisons, hospitals, asylums, but nothing compared to what happened on the night of October 3rd, 2024. It was supposed to be a private walkthrough of the Conjuring House before finalizing the purchase. Only a handful of people were invited. Jason, a camera tech, a sound operator, and a close friend from his ghost hunters days. They arrived at dusk, the property swallowed in fog. According to Jason's later statement, the house didn't look abandoned. It looked like it was waiting. The first few hours were uneventful, just the usual creaks, cold spots, and flickering lights. But around midnight, the house began to breathe. Jason described the sensation as a low vibration running through the floorboards, almost like a heartbeat. Then came the smell, sulfur, metal, and something burnt. His camera tech reported their meters spiking off the charts, despite no visible power source nearby. Jason tried to speak into the recorder, but his words came out distorted, layered with whispers that weren't his own. When they played the footage back later, they noticed something chilling. In one of the rooms, behind Jason, stood a shadow in the mirror. It wasn't human-shaped, its arms bent wrong, its reflection lagging half a second behind reality. Then the figure moved on its own, not mirroring Jason at all. The sound operator swore he heard it speak a single word: return. That's when Jason's flashlight died. Every device shut off simultaneously. In the darkness, someone screamed. The crew fled the house, abandoning their gear. Neighbors reported strange blue lights flickering through the windows until dawn. When Jason returned the next day, everything inside had been rearranged. Chairs overturned, symbols scratched into the walls, and a note left near the fireplace that read, "You opened it again." That night changed Jason forever. The fearless leader of ghost hunters had finally found something he couldn't explain, and worse, something that seemed to recognize him. After the night at the Conjuring House, Jason Hawes wasn't the same. Friends described him as quieter, more withdrawn. His usual confidence on camera had been replaced with caution and, at times, fear. For weeks, he refused interviews, stopped posting updates about the GoFundMe, and canceled public appearances without explanation. Then one evening, in a brief live stream meant to address the rumors, Jason dropped a statement that would ignite a firestorm across the paranormal community. "It's bigger than just one house. We were never supposed to find out what connects them." Fans immediately began digging, connecting dots across every major case Jason's team had ever covered, from Eastern State Penitentiary to St. Augustine Lighthouse. What what they found was startling. At least 5 of those haunted locations shared one identical feature: a deep underground access point. In some cases, it was an old well. In others, a sealed crawl space or sub-basement. But in each, investigators recorded low-frequency hums, sudden electromagnetic surges, and voices that referenced the circle. When Jason began comparing the audio from these cases, the similarities were undeniable. Same frequency spikes, same phrases whispered through EVP. We return through the route, the gate below, and the harvest. It sounded less like random hauntings and more like coordinates, pieces of a massive puzzle connecting supernatural hotspots across the United States. Days later, Jason posted a cryptic update. "I've been contacted. They don't want this going public." He didn't specify who they were, but within 24 hours, fans noticed strange activity surrounding his accounts. Old ghost hunters clips featuring unexplained underground phenomena were quietly taken down. Forum posts discussing the Root network were flagged and deleted. Even members of his old crew, Grant Wilson and Steve Gonsalves, refused to comment, saying only that Jason's dealing with things beyond the show. By mid-November, Jason claimed someone had accessed his private email, attaching images he'd never seen before. Aerial scans of several haunted sites, connected by faint energy trails, all converging beneath the conjuring house. The implication was staggering. What if hauntings weren't random at all? What if they were residual echoes of something ancient, spread through a network buried beneath our feet? Jason's discovery wasn't just paranormal anymore. It was political. Someone, or something, wanted these connections erased. And if his warnings were true, they'd do whatever it took to keep the roots hidden forever. Weeks after Jason's live stream, his followers noticed something strange on his social media feeds. A 13-second video posted in the middle of the night, then deleted less than 2 minutes later. It wasn't titled, it wasn't captioned, and it didn't even appear in his content schedule. But a few fans managed to download it before it vanished. What it showed left even skeptics speechless. The clip opened in near total darkness. You could hear Jason breathing heavily, as if he were running or panicked. Then, a faint light flickered, the glow of a phone screen reflecting off a wall covered in carved symbols. His voice, strained and low, whispered, "They're not ghosts." After that, the feed distorted, breaking into static. When the screen cleared for half a second, a figure appeared standing behind him, not in the shape of a human, but something broader, its head slanted, eyes like dim orange coals. Jason turned, as if noticing it, and then the video abruptly cut to black. Within hours, users trying to repost the clip found their uploads blocked for copyright violation. Those who had downloaded it reported corrupted files. Some even claimed their accounts received temporary bans. For many, it was the clearest sign yet that something was being suppressed. Jason never acknowledged the video directly, but during his next public appearance, a radio interview meant to calm his fans, he let something slip. When the host asked if he believed someone was actively trying to silence him, Jason paused for a long moment before replying, "You don't understand. This goes back decades. Ed and Lorraine warned us about this." That single line sent the paranormal world into a frenzy. What did the Warrens have to do with it? Had they discovered the same root network decades earlier and kept it hidden? Digging through archives, fans uncovered one eerie connection. In 1973, Ed Warren filed a sealed report with the Catholic Diocese of Hartford regarding an interlinked disturbance beneath colonial sites along the eastern seaboard. If true, Jason's recent experiences weren't isolated. They were part of an old investigation, quietly buried by both religious and governmental agencies. The carvings in the conjuring house, the whispers caught on tape, and the strange hums recorded across multiple haunted sites all matched what Ed Warren once described as gate markers. So, was Jason's deleted video proof that he had found one of these ancient gates? And if so, what had followed him back? That was the question the community couldn't shake, because since that night, Jason hadn't been seen in public again. Only a final message appeared on his website days later. Some doors don't close when you walk away. They close when they're done with you. After Jason Hawes vanished from the public eye, his closest allies tried to keep the investigation alive. Members of the paranormal community, some from Ghost Nation, others independent researchers, began pooling resources to find out what had happened in the weeks between the deleted video and his last cryptic message. But what they found was chilling. Not only was Jason missing, but his evidence was being erased in real time. Hard drives, tapes, and cloud backups stored by old team members began to fail simultaneously. One investigator, who chose to remain anonymous, claimed that his entire archive of the Conjuring House photos, over 4,000 images, corrupted overnight. When he tried to open the files, they displayed a flickering black screen with a single word pulsing faintly in white letters: return. Even stranger, those who had previously worked with Jason began to receive calls from unidentified numbers. The caller would remain silent, breathing softly before hanging up. A few reported hearing faint murmurs, like static whispers, before the line went dead. One producer described it as electronic interference that felt alive. Then came the disappearance of Jason's YouTube channel. Years of evidence, case files, and footage just gone. Deleted without notice, replaced with a generic message claiming account violation. Fans begged for answers, but Jason's official representatives were quiet. His family issued no statement. Ghost hunters and Ghost Nation networks offered no comment. It was as if the man himself had been erased, along with his work. But one piece slipped through the cracks. A short, unlisted video surfaced on a European file-sharing site, posted from an IP address traced back to Rhode Island. The video, time-stamped just days before Jason went silent, showed him in what appeared to be a hotel room. His tone was calm but urgent. "If you're watching this," he said, "they know. The thing under that house isn't a haunting. It's an access point. We've been lied to. They told us we were chasing spirits. What we were really doing was guarding something ancient, something that wakes when you talk about it." He paused, glancing at the door, as if expecting someone or something to enter. "If they tell you I've gone missing, don't believe them. I didn't disappear. I was taken back." The video ended abruptly, cutting to static and a faint audio distortion that some claimed sounded like breathing or growling. Moments later, the link to the video vanished from the web entirely. But it was too late. Viewers around the world had already mirrored it, dissected it, and posted transcripts across every platform. Within hours, the hashtag #Where is Jason Hawes trended worldwide. But the most disturbing part came from those who analyzed the background of the clip. On the wall behind Jason hung a framed print, an old map of New England, with 5 red dots marked across it. When those dots were compared with haunted locations from Jason's past investigations, the pattern was unmistakable. Each dot formed the shape of a pentagram, with the Conjuring House directly at the center. And suddenly, Jason's final words made sense. Whatever he had uncovered, whatever the access point really was, it wasn't just paranormal. It was ritualistic, ancient, and deliberate. And if Jason Hawes was right, something had been waiting for someone like him to find it. By early 2025, the Jason Hawes story had gone beyond rumor. What started as a strange disappearance was turning into a full-blown conspiracy, and the deeper people dug, the more disturbing it became. Independent investigators began uncovering inconsistencies in official records. Phone logs, emails, and even property deeds connected to the Conjuring House had been mysteriously altered. Jason's name had been scrubbed from several filings, replaced with a faceless corporation listed only as REM Holdings LLC, an entity traced to a P.O. box in Virginia. The same company had quietly purchased 2 other locations Jason had investigated years earlier. When one journalist attempted to contact the listed attorney for the company, they were told the information was classified. That's when whispers began spreading that this wasn't a cover-up by producers or networks, but by something much larger. Former insiders began speaking anonymously, claiming that Jason had stumbled onto a classified paranormal containment project, supposedly linked to federal research into unexplained phenomena dating back to the 1950s. Documents leaked through obscure forums referenced a secret program codenamed Eidolon, which allegedly investigated locations exhibiting dimensional dimensional interference. The files mentioned vibration patterns, low-frequency gateways, and energy anomalies synchronized through electromagnetic harmonics, the exact same language Jason used when describing the roots. The chilling implication was that the government wasn't trying to debunk ghosts at all. They were tracking them. One of the most shocking discoveries came from a retired technician who once worked for the Sci-Fi Channel during the early seasons of Ghost Hunters. He claimed that a military liaison occasionally reviewed certain episodes before airing, particularly those involving deep underground readings or unexplained electromagnetic spikes. "We thought it was legal clearance stuff," he said, "but sometimes they'd tell production to remove scenes that had nothing to do with privacy or liability. They didn't want the frequencies broadcast. They said it could reactivate something." At first, the statement seemed ridiculous, until viewers began analyzing old Ghost Hunters episodes. Some noticed peculiar distortions during certain EVPs, rhythmic pulses repeating every 41 seconds. When amplified, they formed a geometric sound pattern, identical to those found in ancient sigils associated with summoning rituals. Then, one night, a private investigator following the case posted a photo to social media that changed everything. It showed the inside of the Conjuring House's basement, recently renovated, with massive copper wiring running along the floor, leading to a reinforced hatch in the center. Over it, faintly painted in red, were two words: containment seal. If the leaks were true, Jason's final warning was no metaphor. The hauntings weren't random. They were containment breaches. And if those seals ever failed, what had been sleeping beneath New England's haunted landscape might not stay buried for long. The government called it folklore. Skeptics called it hysteria. But Jason's followers had another name for it: the Root Awakening. And they believed that was exactly what had already begun.